Your morning coffee routine might be the single biggest reason you're heading toward diabetes, and you have absolutely no idea it's happening. Right now, millions of seniors are doing something every single day that's actively working against their blood sugar. And the worst part? They think they're doing it right. They think coffee is healthy. They've heard it helps with metabolism. They've read it reduces diabetes risk. So they drink it, but they're drinking it at the exact moment that makes their glucose spike the hardest. I've been tracking blood sugar patterns in over 800 seniors for 4 years. And I've seen this mistake destroy glucose control in nearly every single person I work with. Think about your last routine. You wake up, you're tired. Before you eat anything, before you even think about breakfast, you reach for that cup of coffee. That moment, that exact moment, that's when your body is most vulnerable to a massive blood sugar spike. By the end of this conversation, you're going to understand exactly what you're doing wrong. And more importantly, how to flip it completely around starting tomorrow morning. This isn't about complicated diets. This isn't about new medications or expensive programs. This is about timing. It's about understanding how your body actually works. So stay with me. Type 2 diabetes in adults over 60 has increased 127% globally in just 12 years. Not a small increase, more than double. And it's accelerating. Right now, nearly 1 in 4 seniors has either diabetes or prediabetes. 1 in 4. But here's what makes this scarier. Most of them don't even know it yet. Think about your last doctor's visit. How many people in that waiting room had unexplained fatigue after lunch? How many felt constantly thirsty but couldn't figure out why? How many noticed their legs felt heavier than they used to? Those are warning signs most people ignore because they think it's just part of getting older. It's not. What bothers me most in my practice isn't even the people with diagnoses. It's the massive group of people teetering on the edge. They have high glucose levels. They feel that afternoon crash. They experience that constant thirst, but they haven't been diagnosed yet. Or they've been diagnosed and their doctor put them on medication, and now they're just waiting to see what happens. Taking pills and hoping for the best. Here's what most people don't realize. Type 2 diabetes isn't like cancer or heart disease. It's not random. It gives you warning signs. It develops slowly over months and years. And that slow development means you have time to intervene. Real time, before things get serious. But the problem is what advice seniors usually get. Cut out carbohydrates, exercise more, take medication, lose weight, watch your portions. All of that helps, sure. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is teaching them about the one thing they consume almost every single day that can either accelerate their diabetes risk or actively prevent it. That thing is coffee. And the way most people are drinking it is working against them. Your pancreas is like a small factory. Every single time you eat something, glucose enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas detects this and produces insulin, a hormone that works like a key. It unlocks your cells so they can absorb that glucose and convert it into energy. When everything works the way it's supposed to, this is elegant, smooth, balanced. You eat, glucose rises, insulin does its job, glucose comes back down. You feel energized. The problem starts when this factory gets overworked. Most seniors are eating foods that spike their blood sugar repeatedly throughout the day. White bread at breakfast, sugary snacks mid-morning, refined carbohydrates at lunch and dinner. Each spike forces the pancreas to produce more insulin. Over months and years, your cells become less sensitive to that insulin. The pancreas has to work harder. It produces more and more hormone to achieve the same effect. This is called insulin resistance, and it's the gateway to type 2 diabetes. Now, here's where coffee comes in and why it's actually powerful. Coffee contains over 600 chemical compounds. Most of them don't matter for blood sugar, but 2 of them do, chlorogenic acid and trigonelline. Think of these compounds as traffic controllers in your digestive system. When they're present in your gut, they do something specific. They slow down how quickly glucose from your food is absorbed into your bloodstream. Instead of a sharp spike that floods your system, you get a gradual rise, a controlled flow. Your pancreas doesn't have to panic produce insulin. Your cells respond normally. Everything stays balanced. This isn't theory. Scientists at Harvard looked at data from over 1 million people and found that regular coffee consumption is associated with a significant reduction in type 2 diabetes risk. The Swedish Karolinska Institute reviewed 30 different studies covering 1.22 million participants. Their conclusion: Regular coffee consumption, both regular and decaffeinated, is associated with about a 30% reduction in developing type 2 diabetes. That's not a small effect, that's significant. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. These benefits only work under specific conditions. Drink your coffee the wrong way, at the wrong time, or with the wrong things added to it, and you completely eliminate those benefits. Worse than that, you can actually work against yourself. Let me tell you about someone I worked with. His name was Arnaldo. He was 72 years old, retired, a man of strong habits. He'd been drinking coffee since he was 17, and he was proud of it. When he came to my clinic, his fasting glucose was 138. His HbA1c, which measures your average blood sugar over the last 3 months, was 7.1%. Both were above where they should be. He told me, "Doctor, I do everything right. I drink coffee every day. I walk 3 times a week. I don't understand why my glucose is high." So I asked him to walk me through his entire coffee routine in detail, and that's when we discovered the problem. Every single day, the moment he woke up, before eating anything, he'd drink a large cup of strong black coffee, sometimes 2 cups. Then at 3 in the afternoon, he'd have another one with a sweet biscuit, and sometimes a 3rd cup before bed because he thought it helped him relax. 3 classic mistakes, every single one making his glucose control worse instead of better. Mistake number 1, drinking coffee on an empty stomach. When you wake up after a whole night of fasting, your body is already in a particular state. Your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, are naturally elevated. This is by design. It's your body's way of preparing you for the day. Cortisol signals your liver to release stored glucose into your bloodstream so you have energy to function. This is called the dawn phenomenon, and it's completely normal. But then you add caffeine to this system. Caffeine amplifies cortisol production. When you drink coffee on an empty stomach, you're essentially hitting your adrenal glands with a signal to release even more cortisol. Your liver responds by dumping additional glucose into your blood, and you haven't eaten a single thing yet. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition measured this precisely. People who drank black coffee immediately upon waking showed blood glucose increases of 23 to 39 milligrams per deciliter before consuming any food. For someone with insulin resistance or prediabetes, this morning spike alone can accumulate over time and make their glucose control worse. Mistake number 2, adding sugar or artificial sweeteners. Here's what I see constantly. Someone tells me they're drinking coffee for their health. They've read about the chlorogenic acid benefits. Then I ask, "What's in your cup?" And they say, "Oh, a spoonful of sugar, or sometimes honey, or vanilla creamer." I understand the appeal. Black coffee is bitter, it's unpleasant, so you sweeten it. You make it more enjoyable. But biochemically, you're doing something that directly cancels out the protective effect of the chlorogenic acid you just consumed. It's like installing a speed bump on a road and then removing it. You get no benefit at all. A recent study from Harvard analyzed over 400,000 adults. Those who drank coffee without any sugar showed a 33% reduction in type 2 diabetes risk. Those who drank coffee with sugar showed only 7%. The difference is statistically significant, but sugar is just the obvious problem. The worst culprit is artificial sweeteners. I know people use them thinking they're the healthy alternative. 0 calories, 0 sugar. Perfect, right? But here's what recent research shows. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose don't directly raise your blood glucose, but they alter your gut microbiota, the collection of bacteria living in your intestines that play a fundamental role in glucose metabolism. When you disrupt this bacterial balance, you impair your body's ability to regulate blood sugar long term. Mistake number 3, drinking coffee late in the day. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours in your body. If you drink coffee at 3 in the afternoon, at 9 in the evening, you still have 50% of that caffeine circulating through your system. It's still affecting your physiology. It's still keeping your cortisol and adrenaline elevated when they should be declining. It's interfering with sleep. And here's what people don't realize. It's during quality sleep that your body regulates a significant portion of glucose metabolism. When you sleep poorly, your cortisol regulation goes haywire. Your stress hormones stay elevated. Elevated stress hormones increase blood glucose. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that people who sleep 4 hours per night have significantly higher fasting glucose the next morning compared to those who sleep 8 hours even when diet is completely identical. So when you drink coffee late in the afternoon, you're sacrificing sleep quality for a temporary energy boost, and you're making your glucose control substantially worse in the process. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how to drink coffee so that it works for you instead of against you. There are 3 optimal windows for coffee consumption, and each one serves a specific physiological purpose. First window. Strategic breakfast coffee of the day should not start with coffee. It should start with water. When you wake up, drink a full glass of water, not coffee. This accomplishes 2 things. It rehydrates your body after 8 hours of fasting, and it gives your system time to naturally reduce the elevated cortisol from sleep. Then wait 40 to 60 minutes. During this time, eat breakfast, but not just any breakfast. Your breakfast must contain protein, not carbohydrates alone. Protein. Here's why. Protein contains amino acids that buffer the cortisol amplifying effect of caffeine. When amino acids are present in your digestive system, caffeine's effects are moderated. Instead of maximizing the cortisol spike, everything stays balanced. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that consuming 30 grams of protein before caffeine reduces the cortisol spike by approximately 40% compared to caffeine on an empty stomach. What counts as adequate breakfast protein? 2 scrambled eggs, a piece of grilled chicken, a cup of plain Greek yogurt, a palm-sized portion of fish. Any of these provides 15 to 30 grams of protein. Only after eating this protein do you drink your coffee. And here's an enhancement. Add half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon powder to your coffee. Cinnamon contains polyphenols that enhance insulin signaling. Regular cinnamon consumption improves fasting glucose levels and HbA1c by meaningful amounts. Drink the coffee black, or with a small amount of unsweetened almond milk. No sugar, no artificial sweetener, no creamer with additives. The coffee consumed this way gives you stable energy because your blood sugar is stable. No crash at 11 in the morning, no sudden afternoon fatigue. Second window. Pre-lunch coffee. This is the secret almost nobody knows about. 20 to 30 minutes before your main meal, typically lunch, drink a small cup of black coffee, just black. About 6 to 8 ounces, the chlorogenic acid in this coffee begins interacting with your digestive system, preparing it to absorb glucose more slowly. When you then eat your meal 30 minutes later, the glucose from that food enters your bloodstream gradually instead of spiking sharply. Research from Brigham and Women's Hospital, affiliated with Harvard Medical School, showed exactly this effect. People who consumed coffee 30 minutes before eating a high carbohydrate meal experienced significantly lower glucose peaks compared to those who ate without the pre-meal coffee. The difference was measurable. Approximately 15 to 20% reduction in peak glucose levels. Third window. Post-exercise coffee if you exercise, and you should, even if it's just walking. Coffee consumed immediately after exercise enhances glucose uptake by muscle tissue. Here's why. During and immediately after exercise, your muscles are in a state of heightened glucose sensitivity. They're actively recruiting glucose transporters specifically to replenish energy stores. Caffeine enhances this process significantly. If you take a 20 to 30 minute walk at 4 in the afternoon, drink a cup of black coffee at 4:35. The timing matters because you have a window of about 45 minutes after exercise when this effect is optimized. This means you can consume up to 3 to 4 cups of coffee daily, the amount recommended by the World Health Organization. If you time it correctly, 4 cups means breakfast coffee, pre-lunch coffee, post-exercise coffee, and potentially one more if needed. The Ceylon cinnamon protocol, I mentioned cinnamon, so let me be specific. Not all cinnamon is equal. Regular grocery store cinnamon, called cassia cinnamon, contains high levels of a compound called coumarin, which can stress your liver in large quantities. You want Ceylon cinnamon, labeled as true cinnamon. It has the same blood sugar regulating compounds, but far less coumarin, half a teaspoon per cup. That's all you need. The compounds are bioactive at this dose. Add it only to your morning coffee. A real transformation I want to tell you about someone else. A retired teacher named Danelli. She was 68 years old when she came to my clinic. She'd been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 3 years earlier. She was taking metformin. She'd reduced her rice intake. She followed the advice she'd been given, but her HbA1c stubbornly stayed above 7.5%. When I discussed her routine, I discovered she was drinking sweetened coffee with milk every morning, coffee with sweet biscuits in the afternoon. She'd practically stopped moving because her legs felt heavy. We created a simple plan together. For breakfast, she'd wait 45 minutes after waking, eat a boiled egg, then have plain coffee with cinnamon. Pre-lunch, she'd drink a small cup of black coffee 20 minutes before eating. She'd take a 25-minute walk in the afternoon, 3 times a week, and drink coffee right after. We eliminated the sweetened afternoon coffee and the biscuits completely. 6 weeks later, she returned to my clinic with a smile I will never forget. Her HbA1c had dropped from 7.5% to 6.8%. Her fasting glucose was 109. She told me, "Doctor, I woke up with energy for the first time in years. I didn't change my medication. I changed my relationship with coffee." What to avoid there are substances that actively sabotage coffee's benefits. Instant coffee sachets often contain hidden sugars and additives. Non-dairy creamers contain trans fats. Flavored syrups add calories without nutrition. Drinking coffee with ultra-processed foods, white bread, commercial pastries, industrial cakes overwhelms any protective effect. The glucose spike is simply too large. The protection triad coffee works better when it's part of a larger framework. 3 elements working together create effects larger than any single element alone. First, strategic coffee consumption. Right timing. Black. With cinnamon only at breakfast. Second, consistent movement. 30 minutes of moderate-paced walking 5 times weekly. Just walking at a pace where you can talk but not sing. This makes muscle tissue pull glucose directly from your bloodstream independent of insulin. Third, adequate protein at every meal. Minimum 30 grams per meal for anyone over 65. This stabilizes post-meal glucose spikes and supports muscle mass, protein, movement, strategic coffee. These 3 together create results I've seen in senior after senior. Not because any single element is miraculous, but because they work synergistically. One last important thing: everything I've described is complementary to medical management, not a replacement. If you have diagnosed diabetes and take medication, never change your dosage or stop taking it on your own. Take this information to your physician. Discuss these findings together, and then work with your doctor to adjust medication if needed based on your glucose response. Your body is constantly trying to maintain balance. When glucose rises, when fatigue won't go away, when your legs feel heavy, these are signals. Your body is communicating that something needs to change. Most people respond by adding medication. And sometimes medication is necessary, but often your body is asking for something simpler. An adjustment of daily habits, the timing of when you drink your coffee, the addition of protein at breakfast, a 30-minute walk 3 times weekly. These aren't glamorous interventions. They're not expensive. They won't make headlines, but they're profoundly effective because they're working with your physiology, not against it. Start with 1 change this week. Next week, add another. In 12 weeks, you'll wonder why this wasn't explained to you years ago. Your health right now is being shaped by the daily choices you're making. Start with your coffee tomorrow morning. Make it count.